Hi, Chris.
Hello.
No. Okay. Yeah. Hi. Everyone.
Hey, folks.
Greg. Just give that usual extra minute for people to join. All right. I think it's time to get started. Um, Greg has been doing the work about how the injection of the diagnostic source. Yesterday you had a discussion, um, and so far it seems that the best approach is kind of for us to have uh, a source version of diagnostic source to inject if it's not available on the normal load path assembling. And the idea is that we're going to work in parallel on that. I'm going to start just doing the work of setting up the diagnostic source version, a kind of vendoring style inside the REPL without dependencies. And Greg is doing the further tests with that. I don't know if you want to add more details to that, Greg.
Um, I'll not necessarily. We went over the high level thing last time already. If you have questions, I can definitely answer them now. Otherwise, we have an internal Google Doc about this. So what I'll probably do is I'll just copy paste it in. I'll slightly change it because it describes the version that I was prototyping last week, and this week we had a design review with the team and then a long conversation with Paul. So I'll update the doc and copy paste it into the issue. Um, and that essentially summarizes it. No point repeating it now unless you guys have questions. I can if you like, but
Yeah, and we can follow up on the issue also. We can have conversations and discussion there if
yeah,
needed.
yeah.
Okay, and earlier today, Zach and I started a conversation about reorganizing the folders with kind of parallel goals in kind of first making clearly what's the proposal and the dependencies of things between the CI integration tests and the folders that we have there, and also kind of to facilitate in the medium term, kind of facilitate us to be able to pick up changes between the different repos that people may fork, and also from the original repo. That just started, so it will be perhaps a bit of time before we pull this to the repo, but the main idea is kind of to do that as soon as possible, so we can bring that work and facilitate the changes between the different repos going back and forth. I think in the short run, this is what I have regarding status and updates. I don't have any other topic right now.
So for the things that for the folder discussion that you had earlier today. So I mean, I think the goal, the immediate like next few days goal was to do the folders, right? Each folder, each root level folder will be either merged or not merged between the repos, right? So that essentially the goal is that top level folders shouldn't contain files that some of them are kind of shared between the repos and some of them are not. And then we wanted to merge whatever we have added from in Datadog over the last several weeks back into OTel. When do you guys, what is a reasonable timeline for this, guys?
I don't know the exact timing. I think it's a bit kind of hard to guess right now, but what Zach and I discussed was to kind of do the reorganize on the DD folder and DD repo, and I will pull, actually I should pull even before that, pull the changes that happened in Datadog. So then we can reorganize the folder, and then I will pull that change to the OpenTelemetry repo. But I don't have a guess about the timing of that. You know, it will
be. Do you guys prefer to first do the reorganization of folders and then do the merge, or you want to do first a merge and then reorganization of folders and then another merge to apply that?
I think it will be easier to do one merge, then the reorganization of the folders, and then I pull the organization.
Okay, sounds good.
I hopefully I'm gonna do. You know that devs are the most optimistic people in the world. I'm gonna say that hopefully by next week meeting we have that. But you know, we are very optimistic.
Okay, so by next week we have the merge or the reorganization.
I hope that we have the reorganization. I will start to work on the merge today or tomorrow to pull the changes. But fingers
crossed. Essentially, you're working on the merge and Zach is working on the reorganization.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool.
And I will as appropriate, I will review even on the Datadog repo, because it's also open source, and we can before it comes to the side.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. So we hope that both of it will be done by next Wednesday, but we are not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Zach, what is your feeling about the reorganization? Is it like rather realistic, rather not realistic, even if you can't commit?
Yeah, it's pretty realistic. We just need to figure out if the ideas that Paulo and I kind of came up with, if they're reasonable, if there's any issues with that, and then also just relinking some of the build stuff to account for the moved folders. But it sounds like a realistic timeline.
Okay, perfect. Cool. I also have nothing else. I will, just to kind of go a little bit more depth in on what Paulo mentioned. So the current prototype for activities, I will create a sub branch so right now it's in my private own repo and not in a company repo. I'll create a branch in OTel and move into there. So we will be building it inside of OTel instead of inside of Datadog. That will make it easier for Paulo to contribute directly. And we will be working in a different branch, so we don't need, like at this very early stage, I don't think we need PRs in that branch. Once we get to like a little bit more stable end-to-end prototype, then we can start doing PRs. Make sense?
Yeah, I think the repo is configured in a way that it's gonna require us to approve. That's the but we can
even on our own branch in sub branches.
Yeah, I will check that. Yeah, and we can change that to our convenience. You know.
Okay.
We have the rights there, and we can change to our convenience.
Sounds good. Cool. Yeah. So right now I have assembly loading working in a dynamic way, but with the additions that Paulo is working on, we will make it more robust. And I'm currently working on the emission of delegates that will shim the APIs. So yeah, cool. That's pretty much it. I don't have anything else. Anybody else has any additional agenda?
I can talk a little bit about what I was thinking about doing.
Mhm.
So as part of just getting up to speed more with the code that's out there, I was planning on just experimenting with seeing if I could take the OpenTelemetry SDK and embed it within the tracer and see what the interactions there could look like. Nothing that would be anything ready to go, but just if I could line things up with a particular test app that has the right dependencies in place, can I actually get something working where I can see traces being emitted via the OTel SDK?
Yeah, that may make sense, but there's two considerations to keep in mind as you do this. But generally, it's a good idea, but generally, like just to. So first of all, the actual collector inside of the tracer will need to consume activities via the shim that we are currently building with Paolo. So that's one consideration. And then the other is, I point you to a branch in the Datadog repo where we have a prototype of using activities. That prototype does not address the versioning space. That's just kind of, it's a prototype. It just references diagnostic source directly, but it solves a bunch of challenges that we have in the tracer now around performance and reliability of how we batch things together before they're serializing. So it's essentially the exporter part. The serialization part, the prototype just kind of took whatever we already have. It didn't think about it. It thought specifically about the exporter part. So take a look. The final version, I have some prototypes that I didn't even push in any repos to kind of take what I will send you further, is sort of a compromise between SDK and what you will see in that branch. And once we kind of moved further on, we might even contribute some part of it back into the SDK. It essentially it addresses two areas that the SDK currently doesn't address. One is very specific to Datadog, but now we have the scenario, and the other is generic. The generic is essentially trade-off configuration possibilities for performance. Because in SDK, it's an application, we want to give customers a lot of frequency, a lot of flexibility to make it behave in different ways. We don't need in the tracer, so you know, I'm saving allocations and checks and whatever on that path. And also I am using all IO is synchronous on a background thread, because again, we control this. We don't want to deal with thread starvation, this kind of stuff. And then that's the generic part of it. And then the specific part of it is Datadog protocol requires the entire trace, the entire local trace of the right, without the reentry. So the part that, you know, you were entered and then you did several spans and then now you're done. This needs to be serialized as one thing. So we are not able to send spans that belong like a trace in several packets. So we need a mechanism that batches these together and then calls serialization. I don't know whether any other vendors affected by this.
What we did was we changed it at the API level. Do you know the Zach probably perhaps is more familiar, because there is the agent API level. We made that layer pluggable, so we plug something to serialize at that level there. So we can serialize to Zipkin, and basically is the format that we've been using, you know.
So the current prototype that I have, because I wanted to make this as efficient as possible and minimize any lookups, because the thing is we now need to group essentially spans by trace. And to make this really, really fast, I built this capability into the very high level of the collector rather than into the serializer. It's an option, it's not required. So there is currently a configuration flag. And if as soon as a span is finished, we know immediately whether or not it's a root span, the local root span. And if it is, and if it's not, then we put it in a special bucket that collects the entire trace. And if it is the root span, then we take the bucket and send it to the serializer. And if the option is not enabled, then we send every span to the serializer. So that's a performance optimization that also exists in the prototype that I'll point you to. So that's just for context, and when you look at it, you'll know why.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like you've already experimented with the idea that I was thinking about playing around with. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you got.
Yeah, and then there's all sorts of sanity around, like it's all log free and has few allocations and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, take a look.
Sounds very good. Chris, if you want to kind of, feel free to bring this discussion on Git or via a draft PR, whatever you have. I think people will like to have the discussion with the issues or things that you find or questions that you may have.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, and then so my high level plan is once activities has a like prototype that works kind of end to end. I'll, you know, if you made a lot of progress in that space by then we'll combine. If not, then I will start working on in that area, and we can combine at the time, whatever stage you're at then we'll take it from there. Cool.
Okay, so we save a lot of time. We get back a lot of time if nobody has anything else.
Yeah, I do have one quick thing. It's Eric here. I just wanted to check in and see about, in terms of goals and timelines. Obviously with the .NET SIG, we're targeting that November 30th GA date. And I'm just wondering like where we think we're going to get, with auto instrumentation kind of in that time frame, and what we think is reasonable.
I would love to have this by GA time, but I think we are still grabbing with the initial stuff, and our rough planning is still very high level, So I would say from my part, I'm targeting this to attempt to be GA, but realistically, I think we are going to be a bit late for that. But I would love to kind of as we kind of perhaps go over the first stumbles of the, not stumbles, but the first issues of that we have in our plate, kind of define a little bit better that initial rough roadmap that we published before.
I honestly have very high doubts that we, well, actually, first we need to have a clear list of what we need to, because roadmap is kind of what we want to do, but that is more flexible. What is less flexible? What are the things that need to be done in whichever order before we are okay with being GA? Because it's a non-clear question, because the trace is already in production and GA for several vendors. So theoretically, we could just call it GA right now. But I think we don't want to, because we would like to generalize certain things and make them more pluggable. So I think the first step would be to make an ultimate list, what it is that we need to take off to be GA. Because we could declare it today, right? And then we can talk about timelines.
Okay, yeah, all great points.
Yeah, I think, Eric, that we do have space for some PMing work on this regard about the things that Greg mentioned about also even establishing our criteria for GA that is not the same as the library, the client libraries wants. You know, so.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I would happy to get involved there wherever I can help out.
Generally, I personally believe, but that's just very subjective, is that there's absolutely no reason for us to have to match the 30th of November date. If it turns out to be natural and easy and things align, that would be cool to kind of be on that bandwagon. But if not, what do we care as long as we make clear progress?
Yeah, and that's okay with me too. That was more just for transparency on where we're at. Just wanting to know, if that was a reasonable goal or not.
Yeah, I would suggest maybe somebody can, like, if you like, you can get a Google Doc going with inspired by Paulo's roadmap that would list all the things that we would like to have done to call things GA, or just add it to Paulo's doc, whatever you prefer. And then we can review it together. And then once everybody is happy, then.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool.
Right.
So would you like to do it, to get this started, Eric, or?
Yeah, I can take an initial stab at it. I'll certainly need lots of help from you guys.
Of course.
But yeah, I can start organizing that.
Cool. All right, I have nothing else.
All right, then. I think that's it for this week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks all.